Hey, want to know more about the best way to learn automation with Robot Framework all online? That's what we're going over in this episode. You don't want to miss it. Hey, I'm Joe, and welcome to another episode of the Test Skill Automation Podcast. And today we'll be talking with some experts that'll be sharing their knowledge at RoboCon online in February that you definitely want to check out. So joining us, we have Mateusz, the co-creator of the popular linter tool called RoboCop and the formatter RoboTidy. How are you?
Hi, hello. Good to be here.
Great to have you. Also joining us, we have Katarina, who is a test automation and cybersecurity consultant and vice chair, I've never heard of this before, of Robot Uprising Association, which sounds really cool, which is about educating people about robots and AI. I'm definitely going to hit her up with some questions around that. Hey, Katarina, good to see you.
Hi, nice to be here.
Awesome. Also joining us, we have Yuri, who's a seasoned test automation engineer from the Netherlands with over 12 years of experience. Hey, Yuri.
Hello.
And finally, we have the one and only creator of the Robot Framework himself, Pekka Klärck. Hey, Pekka, welcome.
Hi, Joe. Nice to be here.
Oh, great to have you all. So a few sessions ago, we had a session on what it's going to be like at RoboCon on-site that people definitely still can catch. But I really want to promote now the online event that I'm really excited to be hosting this year with you all. I think it has a lot of great aspects to it that is different than on-site, and I think a lot of people aren't necessarily aware of. So I guess before we get into it, Pekka, I think you're going to be speaking about some of the new features of Robot Framework. So a little teaser for the folks that may be thinking about joining the online event and maybe wanting to learn more about what's new at Robot Framework.
I'll be participating in the conference opening, but I have a separate presentation about Robot Framework 7.0 features. This release is currently getting into beta phase, and will be released in early 2024 before the conference. And it's going to have some really interesting new features, especially for external tool developers, especially related to this listener API that gets notifications during execution, what's happening. And I'm going to go those features in detail in this presentation, and should be pretty interesting. I would say that people like Mateusz and so who are developing external tools, but also I would assume that also many people creating their own custom solutions around Robot Framework may find those features interesting.
Awesome. So I'm looking forward to that myself. I know every time I host a Robot Framework, I'm always amazed of all the functionality it has, and you keep adding on to it. So I'm really excited about that. One thing I know when I talk to people, what they say they miss from an online event is the community aspect. And that's another thing. I've hosted RoboCon a few times, and I was really impressed by the way you handle that. So Mateusz, maybe a little bit about the community aspect. I think you do something a little different than most conferences do, and I think you're one of the leaders in that aspect. Maybe give people a flavor for what, if they're saying that maybe they never joined an online event, why maybe RoboCon does it a little bit differently. I think it really does capture the community aspect.
Yeah, so I think everyone who attended RoboCon before knows that the community is like the best thing that happens during the conference. So like people are very nice, very helpful. There are a lot of ideas exchanging happening. So the community is great, and maybe some people might feel that they will lose something if they join only online for the conference, but actually that is not true, because it all started apparently thanks to the pandemic, when we needed to actually go online, and we were thinking what kind of tool we might use for this kind of the event. And we picked GatherTown, and I was so amazed by this tool that I actually offered my help with preparing, the map and the tool, configuring it for the event, and it was in 2021, and it came out really great because it actually feels like you're there. It actually feels like you're going on the venue, passing by, seeing people, their faces, and so on. And it actually feels so real, so natural that it just feels amazing because you're walking on the venue, you're seeing people. You can actually go into, the main hall, listen to the speakers, go and talk with the sponsors, and so on. So we're doing it again, but this time will be a bit different because each year we're trying to change the map of let's say this world, this 3D virtual world. And it's getting better each year, and we are trying to optimize, the space. So this time I'm also kind of responsible of this part with help of the other people from the organizing team. But it's going to be different also on the in-person one, but let's maybe not talk about it right now.
Yeah, like I said, if people haven't joined, they haven't seen it, they need to register for RoboCon to actually get this aspect. You even have after parties. I think last time, I think it was Beer. There was some popular location there, and you actually recreated it virtually. And you had saunas. I was in a sauna with people virtually, which is pretty wild. So it's really, really cool for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, there is a beer bar. You can drink beer with others, and there's also sauna. And it actually went a bit crazy 2 years ago. So let's see what it'll be. Will it be this time?
Absolutely. So maybe let's talk a little bit some of the sessions going on. Katarina, I know I think your session's called "Why Cybersecurity is Part of Your Job as a QA Engineer," which I love this topic. Can you just maybe tell us a little bit more what this is about? So a little teaser for people that why they have to attend the online event to hear this.
Well, when I started as a tester, I was kind of like doing cybersecurity as a hobby, and so when I went into Q&A, I started noticing that like there seems to be this like certain silos, and people are even a bit afraid of like the cybersecurity side of things. It's always something that like someone else handles, and it's not like up to me to think about it. But then as I gain experience, and I've noticed that, for example, in the financial sector and with insurance companies and so on, everything is very structured, and you need to follow certain rules. And then there are kind of like certain rules for everything. But then cybersecurity is this kind of like organic thing. Like when we think about like the bad hackers, like you have like random people who are doing opportunistic things in the internet, and they take advantage of the gaps between the silos. So it's really important that the Q&A also thinks about this side, and that's why I think it's everybody's responsibility. So I'm going to talk a bit about my own experiences, what I've seen happening, and like I'm working as a cybersecurity specialist now also, so it's kind of like a dual job. I'm doing both sides, and I think that benefits everyone. And I think we need to lower the threshold of like cybersecurity, not think about it as some kind of like exotic and really hard technical thing that only like certain kind of script kids can do. But it's like everyday thing that everybody should think about. Like everybody's grandma should think about, like if they get a phishing email, like don't reply. Like this is something that belongs to everyone. But I will concentrate on the testing side of this.
I love it. And I definitely agree. I don't know why a lot of testers, for some reason, don't focus in on security. I think if they did, they really would enhance their career and be more valuable to their organization for sure. So I'm really excited about this. One quick question. Like I said, I'm always surprised. I don't really use Robot Framework a lot, but when I do, I'm always really surprised how much functionality it has. Does it have built-in modules to help you with security? Or is that the talk doesn't cover that aspect?
I cover using Robot Framework to help with this stuff, but it's mainly about this kind of like normal regression that you would do, maybe that think about like where you check sanitations and such, and the kind of part that is everyday Q&A job, but you don't necessarily think that it's part of the cybersecurity also, and maybe like APIs and such.
Nice. Cool. Awesome session for sure. Yuri, I believe you're talking about a Selenium library. 2024? Is it like an update on Selenium library, or what's that all about?
I'm joining Ed for the Selenium library talk. We're talking about a bit about the future about Selenium library, what we're going to do in the next years. And besides that, I also have another talk about how to contribute to open source.
What's the biggest? Do you see people not being able to contribute because they don't know how? Is there like certain things that people struggle with?
Yeah, I think so. It's mainly from my own perspective. It can be daunting to get started to help contributing to open source. So last RoboCon was my first RoboCon, and I just went up to people and asked them, "How can I help?" Because I want to help, but I'm not a developer. I can't. I can write a bit of code, but I can't write a full Selenium library or something like that. So I was just looking for, okay, how can I contribute? Can I just help some code reviewing, or can I help be your rubber duck for your rubber duck debugging, or all those kinds of things? And I'll try to get some examples out there during my talk, and also talk about my experiences doing that the last year.
Nice. Now, I think I cut you off when you were talking about Selenium library, which I think a lot of people are really interested in. I think two new features that they may not be familiar with, I think, is Selenium Manager and the BiDi piece. Maybe a little plug for what those are and why people need to join your session to learn more about those. I think those are two killer features.
We're looking into that. That's what Selenium is going that way, using the bidirectional. I am not 100% sure about exactly how to implement it and what we are going to do and what it is exactly going to do. So I can't say much about that. I can say a bit about the Selenium Manager. What they have now is Selenium Manager that you don't have to configure your own browser anymore. You can just basically get it started without having to download the correct WebDriver for your Edge or your Firefox or your Chrome. So that saves a lot of time and stress and problems.
Absolutely love it. So Pekka, you all know probably AI has been the rage with the automation frameworks. Everyone's coming out with an AI plugin or features. Is there anything with Robot Framework you're thinking of that incorporates AI? Is that just totally, do you think that adds any value, or is that like not something you see on the roadmap?
I'm sure it has value. It's not something that I don't think there's going to be a lot of features in the core that would be somehow AI enabled directly. But for example, these listener features that I mentioned that I'm going to talk about also at the conference, they allow integrating AI to the test process. So earlier, of course, you have been able to use AI, for example, to create your test cases before execution. And of course, robot doesn't know that did you create them or did you ask AI to create your test. So that has always been possible. But now it's also possible to make changes on the fly. So while tests are running, you may have some kind of sketch, and then you can use AI and model-based testing features much more powerful with these new listener features, because it's easier to adjust and make changes and so on. So I expect there to be more tools coming into that area in the future now that the core makes that possible. But the core itself probably isn't going to get something like AI features, because that would be outside.
Awesome. Anyone else have any strong opinions about AI and automation or testing or security, or have anyone tried it? Anyone, is it worth the hype? Not ready yet for prime time?
Well, I hope
nobody
puts them.
I don't personally have experience from that at all, but I know that there are tools around it already now, and I think some of the conference sponsors and presenters are going to talk about that as well. So I think it's probably not good for me to start trying to mention names here or anything like that, but I'm sure there's going to be AI specific topics at the conference. Do anybody else here know? Is there something?
Katarina, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was just about to say that, like, if you use AI to help you with your testing or anything, just remember not to put anything like classified in the prompt, because you never know like where it's going to be saved or used as a material. Like, it would be kind of embarrassing if ChatGPT created like an answer to someone else, and it involved some of your secrets.
Yes, 100%.
And a big problem also with creating, let's say you create your tests with AI. Does the AI then create the tests to fail or to succeed? I mean, it can easily test something that is failing right now, and it says, okay, I have to create tests for this, so it always does the same thing it does now. You still have to have some way to check, are you actually testing something that is correct, or is it false? Or how does it know that? How can you create a negative positive and false positives?
Yeah, I would say that you probably wanted to have some kind of a manually created automated test set that works as a regression set, and then AI can be a very powerful tool there, helping with doing similar things that you can do with exploratory manual testing. So you can give it like let's try to find something there, but just trusting model-based testing or AI for your just using those may be a bit risky, because I believe a kind of a strong regression set that is always run, has always the same test and always runs the same way, has also a lot of benefits. It helps a lot with refactoring, and learned that myself again when we're doing big changes in Robot Framework 7.0, and having comprehensive acceptance test has really helped and made those changes possible.
I think what Pekka said about that maybe core of Robot Framework is not the best place for AI, and I think I feel agree with it, because the core needs to be fast, needs to stay reliable, but at the same time, it's really extendable. Like the beauty of Robot Framework is that it is really easy to extend, integrate another tools, like wrap around some tools around it, or build new stuff that works together with Robot Framework. And I think this is the area where people can actually have some fun, try the AI and how it can, work with Robot Framework, but maybe not in the core, because it needs to stay fast. It needs to always respond the same, right?
Yeah, and the core has a lot of kind of backwards compatibility concerns. So it's not very easy to experiment with anything there, saying, let's try to do it this way, and then next release we change it to something totally different. So, but that's something that the external tools can do. You can have one tool, and if it doesn't work well, then you can create a new one that uses something else, and that's totally fine. What's important with the Robot Framework core is that we have our APIs that tools can use, and that's kind of getting back to my talk that we are going to have there are these interfaces like that listener interface, also more support for JSON results and JSON stuff like this, that makes it easier to have integrate Robot Framework different ways with other tools and distribute test cases and all stuff like that, which is also those features aren't really in the core, but the core should make it possible.
So Mateusz, you also created some tools like the linter and other ones. And you mentioned, and that would not be part of the core. So if someone was looking to create an AI type of tool, I think there's something called, I could get this wrong, a work group. So is there I know there's 3 days for the online event, and the last day, I don't know if it's called a work group, or what is that called? And is that somewhere, if someone had an idea for, say, a tool, they could come and share that?
Yeah, I think the official name of this day is Community Day right now.
Yes,
yeah. So basically the idea is really simple. Just attend this day, come talk with people, see what's going on, what ideas they have, drive some discussions with people, and there's a very, very high chance that you will come up with, for example, a new tool or some improvement for already existing tools, or I know, a new feature. Or maybe you just want to fix some bugs and you want to find, pals that will help you with that, and so on. So it's just a day for a community that together we can gather and just write code or test stuff and so on, and do it together. Because the most important thing is that if we do it together, we kind of, merge our brains together, and there's like a big brain that no one has alone, but together we can create really impressive stuff. So So this is the main idea behind it, and I really encourage you to come. You will not regret. If you have never attended, it's a must for you.
And I am an extreme introvert, so I prefer online events just because I could join. I don't have to necessarily share my camera, even though we recommend you do. But I would think you get more benefit, especially if you're an introvert, for this online event, because I've seen it myself at the previous ones where a lot of engagement that I may not have seen. Like if I was on site, I'd be hiding in the back of the room. So I don't know if anyone else has that experience, but that's one of the benefits I think of an online event as well. As I think more people get to share their ideas because they may not be have that hang up of being in person or being shy.
A big advantage also is because you're all on the same screen. You're all sitting there in the same virtual room. And you can be in the corner, but you're still the same size as everybody else. And there's like, oh, hey, there's somebody over there. He's also listening in. Do you have any information? Or do you have any ideas? It's easier to get included because, if you are a bit of an introvert, it's difficult to say, I have an idea. No. It's also easier for everybody else to include you.
Yeah, and it's easier to approach people, right? You can keep your camera off, but then in the real world, it's kind of stressful to, come to the speaker and ask question. Actually, it's not stressful at all. I again encourage you to do so. It's actually really nice that someone talks with you when you finish your talk. But during the online conference, it's easy to talk with other. You don't need to turn on your camera, but it's better then. And I think you're still in a safe place. You're at your home, so nothing will happen to you, right? So I think you should just turn on your camera, go on the map and see people. And I'm pretty sure there will be some discussion you can just take part in.
That's a great point about the speakers. Once again, I'm just thinking of the previous RoboCons where you had speaker sides where you can actually go talk to the speaker after the session. I know on person, sometimes, where's that speaker or they have a limited time, but because they're online, you could then interact with the speaker after the fact and you can have multiple people engaging at the same time. So that's a huge benefit as well. So thank you for bringing that up.
And I think it's awesome that you have, even though the on-site event is also very diverse and international, but then in the online there are people who are actually in different parts of the world, and I think it's super beneficial that people get to share their views and you get to see people working differently and get different ideas. And at least in my work, I work with people from offshore all the time, and it's I never get to see these people, and I know that they have totally different ways of working and so on. But then in this online event, it's relaxed and nice environment, and people have the permission to ask any kind of questions and just try to understand each other, get closer to each other. We can make the world a bit smaller by understanding each other better. I love that fact about it because it's it brings this equality. Not everyone has the chance to fly to Finland, but logging in online, it's much easier.
100% agree. And I would think maybe with security as well, maybe certain governments or certain areas have maybe mandates for security things that you may not know about in your country. Yeah. I don't know if that's a thing, but you probably could learn about new security concerns that you didn't think were important, but maybe more important in other countries than others. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
And I'm dreading my speech in a way that I'm scared that people are why are you talking about that? That's not relevant in here. But then at the same time, there is this possibility that people who have things differently, they're never thought of that. Right. I think the only way of kind of share information is by sharing information. You never learn new stuff if you don't dare to do it.
Right. No, I agree. I think this is also single track too. So sometimes where someone has multiple tracks, 30 to choose from, you're security. But now that they may be in this room and think, oh, this is applied to me, and then they hear you talk and they're like, wait a minute, wow, I didn't realize it. So I think that's another beauty of this format. It is single track, so that people that may not think it applies to them, you probably could reach to a lot more people. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I thought maybe we'd wrap it up, go around the room and give people maybe just one actual piece of advice of why you think maybe they should join RoboCon, or maybe something that you think they may not know, or a tip or something to get them to definitely join the online event. So Pekka, we'll start with you and we'll go down the way I see people on the screen.
Yeah. Well, I recommend joining the conference not only for the videos, but also as we discussed several times. Mateusz was talking that we have this gather town where it's possible to meet with the community and so on. So that's really nice. Even though it's kind of online, it doesn't mean that you would be just watching YouTube videos on your own. You of course, when you join the conference, you can then get access to those videos. You can watch them also afterwards. We'll eventually release all, or at least most of the videos publicly, but it will take some time because we want to encourage people to join the conference and join the online event as well. And I guess the final thing I need to say is that, of course, we are using the money we get from the conference. We are selling tickets, and the money is spent for running the Robot Framework Foundation, which mostly means paying for developing Robot Framework and also external tools in the ecosystem. So all the money is going to very good cause, not into some big corporate or somebody's pocket. For example, I'm not getting anything directly from that or something like that. So it's all spent for development, which is good. So if you can make your employer get your ticket, do come.
Yeah, I think coming to the event or like logging online is like really good, because you get like this curated content in a certain way, and then you have the community there. Like, I really encourage being part of the community. This is so awesome what we have here going on. Like, I visited RoboCon first time a few years ago, and like I was kind of scared that like, what do I do there? Like, there's this like horrible tech bros there, and this is going to be like really intense. And it was just like, everyone was super nice, and like Yuri said, everyone is just like, how can I help you? Like, it's so awesome. Like, if you feel that you need good people in your life, or like positive attitude and something nice to your career, come and be part of us.
Love it. Yuri?
Yeah, definitely go to the online version. It's more than just online talks, watching a video of a talk. It's walking around with people and talking to them and listening in on the discussions. And it's more alive than any other online event that I have been to. So definitely go there and enjoy and get to know people and get your ideas out there, or listen to other people's ideas.
Great, Mateusz.
I know you were asking about the online conference, but I would really like to spend at least 5 seconds to brag about the in-person one as well, because it's really going to be something cute, something different, something new and fresh. But of course, it's easier to attend online, and we are also coming with new things here. So there will be a lot more interactivity, engagement, some contests. And also each talk is unique, and the online conference, we have 100% fresh talks. Previously, some of the best talks from the in-person edition were recorded and then streamed online. But this time everything will be fresh, because we had so many talk proposals that we couldn't even pick all of the talks that we wanted, and we still made the agenda for two conferences, because it's actually we can say it's another conference, because there's 100% new stuff. So my personal feeling about the RoboCon is that after the conference, I always feel like I upgraded my experience. I bumped my role. I'm not a junior anymore. I'm a regular worker, or I feel like senior right now. I can share my knowledge with others. And also after the conference, I want to share this knowledge with other people. And it's actually true. And I think it's really amazing. Many participants try to give a speech from the stage in the next edition. So first they attend, they see how it works out, how the great community is. And then in the next year, or then the year later, they actually go on stage and give a talk. So I think this is something amazing about it.
So also, I think another benefit is if people did go on site, which I think they definitely should, but if they missed out or they got sick or they also wanted to attend the online event, I think the benefit of joining on site is you also can join online. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And I really encourage you to also join in the in-person one, but of course the online is included. So if you can't, you can always go there. And again, you will have a lot of new stuff there.
Awesome. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Register now at robocon.io, and I'll be hosting an online event and definitely look forward to seeing everyone there.